Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with KeKe, Life, Love, and Mindset, the podcast where movement meets mindset, healing meets action, and conversations create transformation. I am your host, KeKe Chanel, award-winning author, lifestyle blogger, and host of Kicking It with KeKe podcast, of course, and owner of 19 Lifestyle Magazine. Around here, we talk about life, love, healing, growth, and mindset shifts that help you become the best version of yourself. So today I am kicking it with a poet who was recently featured in 19 Lifestyle Magazine. And you guys know how I like to do. I like to give my guests the opportunity to introduce themselves. So, Laron, thank you for coming to kick it with me. Go ahead and tell the people who you are.
Hey, no problem. Well, my name's Laron. I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio, but I'm in Columbus, Ohio right now, so that's where I'm at currently. So pretty much a poet, spoken word artist, and that's a little bit about me, who I am. So that's the simple gist of it.
All right, so we're going to start off with the mindset moment where
Okay.
we talk about mindset that shapes how we experience life and love, okay?
Okay.
So, in your opinion, what mindset shift changed the way that you see life and love?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. So I just turned 48 this year.
Me too, all right?
So I saw a lot of my friends didn't make it to C48. A lot of them didn't
Mhm,
make it to C30, let alone
mhm.
40.
Wow.
I've had a few accidents. Let's see, I've been through a lot these last couple of years. I've been through a divorce, lost my house, then I lost my job a month later. So then I found another job, and then I got rear-ended like a month after I got my job. So I lost my car.
Hmm.
So I just been thinking about everything that's happened to me over these 48 years, that how I can no longer be here. So I just try to live like every day is going to be my last, and think just be grateful that I'm still here and still alive. So that's just a few of the things that's changed me in my mindset. So I'm just grateful every day I get to wake up. I pray one morning, every morning when I wake up, I pray and thank God for another day. Read my little scriptures and just watch some meditation videos. Sometimes I read, sometimes I watch meditation videos. So that's pretty
Mhm.
much what shifted my mindset, because I don't know when my last day is gonna be my last. I just saw a post from another one of my mentors. He said, "Every day that you wake up is another day you closer to dying because we're not getting younger." So
Wow.
when he said that, they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's right." You know,
Right. Mhm.
my grandfather was blessed to see 88 years, so he lived a long time. My grandmother, she passed away like 2000, like right before the pandemic, around 2017, and
Okay.
she died in her like 70s, 80s. So I'm just grateful. That's what I try to be. I just try to have a gratitude mindset, because even though all the bad things that happened to me here, I'm still
Mhm.
here and I've still got
Mhm.
opportunities. So that's how I live now.
That's a great mindset to have, a gracious mindset. Not everybody have that, but most people should adapt that because when you look at life as I'm still here, you see it through a different lens. And I think that more people need to acknowledge that, and life wouldn't be as hard as we think that it is. Because, waking up with the ability to have a roof over your head and clothes on your back and food on the table, not everybody has that. So we need to be grateful that we are some of the ones that are blessed to have those things. So thank you for sharing that. And I know that your poetry centers around Black men and
Yes,
mental health.
yes.
So, from your perspective as a poet, how have you seen men gravitate life while being taught to suppress their emotions?
Oh wow, that's a great question. Some of them do better at it than others, right? Like I said earlier, I lost a lot of my friends. Some of them to street violence that so many of us go through.
Mhm.
One of my friends, he drunk himself to death because he couldn't handle it no more. He just lost his job, lost the girl. He just drunk himself to death, so he couldn't handle it anymore. So, which is what drew me to being a poet, because I started seeing everybody, and then me myself, like you said, we were always taught to hold our emotions in and suppress our emotions. And I started looking more deeper to this. It causes stress, it causes heart attacks, it causes a lot of things. And when we get older, which that's another reason I'm grateful for my health. I don't have any major ailments or anything like that. I'm just getting over a cold, but I'll take
Mhm.
that over cancer or anything else, or some of the things
Right.
I see other people go through. So I have never had any heart attacks, strokes, none of that stuff and stuff. So I do a lot of stuff here locally too. Like like we have the African American Men's Wellness Walk coming up in August. So I
Mhm.
got a group of brothers I'm around. We actually just started a poetry group. So I got two of my other brothers in it, and I'm glad because he said he wrote a poem. He's actually had suicidal thoughts before, which I didn't even know. And he
Wow.
with open mic, he talked about being suicidal. So me doing poetry, I'm bringing other people in, and they're telling their story now, which I never thought of myself as somebody who could help other people. I'm an introvert by nature. I don't like to talk, which is surprisingly I'm even doing this. Like I
Good
wouldn't
boy. Yeah.
would talk or nothing, but once I got into poetry, it forced me to get out there. So that's what it's done for me. So to answer your question, I just seen a huge transition in myself and also my other brothers how we handle things. Like, well, when I got divorced, I went through a domestic violence situation. So what I found out when I was going through that, about 1 in 4 men, 1 in 7, I don't remember the exact number, but it's somewhere around there, go through domestic violence, but we don't talk about it because we
Right.
hold it in. We're supposed to be tough, be strong. Black men have the highest suicidal rates. That's another thing I found out when I was going through my thing. So I think that, but based on the poetry and all the events that I go to, we're starting to
Mhm.
understand it more. Because when I was younger, we didn't talk about it. It was just be tough all the time, be tough, be tough.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
20s, probably all the way to 30s. It wasn't until my 40s that I started understanding this. Something, this is a problem. Something's wrong. Why can't
Right.
we express myself? And I think about a lot about Jesus. Jesus was tortured. They talked about him. They did everything they could. They killed him, and he had feelings. He got angry and flipped the table. He was sad. He had all kind of range
Yeah.
of emotions. And if you're supposed to be like Jesus, then why can't if Jesus had feelings, then why can't I, as a man, have feelings?
Exactly.
That's probably gonna be one of my next poems. So I've been asking myself that a lot. Okay, well, if we're supposed to be following Christ and be Christ-like, why is that we can't display human emotions like Jesus did? We have to be tough all the time when Jesus wasn't himself, and he was the only perfect person in the world. But even he had
Right.
feelings. So that's something else I've been thinking about a lot. So that's
That
how,
is a great revelation
yeah.
because he did flip the table over,
Yeah.
like for
When
real.
I first learned
And
that,
he
it tripped me out.
wept.
Like, wait a minute, what do
Yeah.
you mean Jesus got angry? And so
Yes.
Moses is another character in the Bible that I like because I equate myself to Moses because when God told him to go talk. I don't mean to get religious. I'm sorry, but
No, you're
when
fine.
when God told him to go talk to the Pharaoh, he said, "I don't want to go talk to Pharaoh. I'm shy. I'm quiet. This, that, other. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it." And God sent his brother Aaron to him, and that's what
Mhm.
he finally did. And then he finally, like, so before I like started understanding the Bible, read, I thought everybody in the Bible, God used people that was perfect, never sinned, did anything wrong. That's what I thought initially. But then when I
Mhm.
went to church, my friend, she taught me some scriptures and this and that. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? What do you mean? This person was a drunk and this person wasn't perfect and this person
Yep.
was scared and this person told God no, they didn't want to do it. What do you mean? So that kind of
Right.
opened my eyes a lot too when I started reading the characters of the Bible and seeing how I helped some of my friends and how they helped me. So that's how I'm handling it now.
Absolutely. That's amazing. When you can see yourself in some of the characters from the Bible, that speaks about volumes with your spiritual journey because now you're making it relatable so that you can comprehend it better. Because we like stuff that's relatable, right? And so if more people took the word of God and made it relatable, more people will use the word to fight the battles that we face every day.
I believe the same thing.
Right. Why do you think so many men struggle with expressing love openly? And how can poetry help bridge the gap between what they feel and what they communicate?
um, when I got the poem, I do a lot of reading and a lot of read because when I write my poems, like I want to know because if I do a poem based on something, I want to be able to have facts.
Hmm.
So I can't. I hate to do it, but I'm gonna come back to hip hop a lot
Hmm.
because that's why I started writing poetry. Like I grew up on all the gangster rap music, the NWA's, the Snoop Dogg, all that stuff.
Yes,
13, I should have had no business listening to it, but I did.
we did.
But then I know that all the one with Aaron Rodgers those lyrics. Like, okay, well, some of these lyrics don't sound like too good. I can't listen to it now. I have to turn it on. Like, yeah, this is not who I am.
Yeah,
I never was that person
same.
anyway, because it's just around me. So that's how I grew up.
Right.
But I think hip hop, the media, the movies, like all the '90s movies. I just wrote a poem about it too. The Men's Societies, the Boys in the Hood type movies, all the hood movies we grew up watching. That you always supposed to be hard, gangster. You can't never show love. I remember a long time ago, I think LL Cool J did an interview. This is way back today. He was on the King Ivory Wayans show. He had a talk show back then.
Hmm.
LL Cool J was saying, "When we're in a hard time, I need love too." He said that's why he said I need love. Now back
Hmm.
then I didn't think nothing about it, but I think LL Cool J was probably the first rapper that talked about love in his music, at least the first male rapper.
Right.
I think hip hop has a lot to do with it. The movies that we watch, the media, always teaching us to be tough, and it just ballooned out of control. So
Hmm.
I think that's why, because for whatever reason we're taught to be pimps and um, sexualize women and this, that, and the other, and be the boy, this, that, and the other. So I think just how we taught when we was younger, like all the even before I was born, the black exploitation movies. I
Oh yeah.
I never really watched them. I don't really. I heard about them, but I never really watched none of them. I don't. So yeah, I know who Pound Gary is, but that's probably about it. Like the
Yeah.
Fly movies and stuff like that. So I think
Right.
that's where it started, and I think the media has done it. And I think this a whole nother conversation, but I think it's planted by Hollywood and the record label stuff like that. So I think the media is just a big reason of it. That's just my
Hmm.
take on it.
Right. And in your opinion, what roles does vulnerability play in a man's healing journey? And why is it so often seen as weakness instead of strength?
That's a great question because me myself, I used to hide my emotions because if you show emotion, either one or two things you're gonna get made fun of or called a punk, or they're gonna be thrown back up your face. Like I said,
Hmm.
when I was going through my marriage, a lot of my stuff got thrown back in my face. Saying, well, I'm not gonna explain any emotions. If I tell somebody something, it's gonna be thrown in my face. And I thank God every day that I didn't grow up in the age of social media.
Oh, me
I,
too. Me
I didn't
too.
have to worry about it. But in today's time, if you tell somebody something, the first thing they'll do when they're going to get mad is go on social media. Like,
Yes.
for example, the whole Megan Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson
Plays it.
thing.
Hmm.
It's just been blowing up. Like for like the last 2 weeks, I've been saying, I said, I don't care. They're celebrity. They're rich. I'm not. So I've seen men taking sides, women taking sides. Like, why? None of us ever going to meet these people ever in life. So why is
Right.
that a concern? So I just think that when something viral goes on social media, then everybody starts picking sides, and then we all start fighting against each other, and we go right back to where we were. So,
Hmm.
so I think that's another reason. Vulnerable, when people are vulnerable, we need to stop running. So I just said this today. If I could, I would just disappear from social media and let somebody else take it over for me. 'Cause I don't really don't even be there no more. I just had a friend of
Right.
mine I talked to last week. She said, well, she had to get off because she had a court case, and they
Hmm.
told her that she had to get off social media for like 2 weeks or something like that. She said, that's been the best time of my life because I don't want to see all that stuff.
Right.
So today, in today's time with social media, I think when people are vulnerable, the first thing they want to do is run to social media and tell everything. Like I think when we're having problems with it, they shouldn't be over social media. We can go to therapy because I went to a lot of therapy to get to where I am. Therapy,
Right.
I went to counseling, and there's nothing wrong with counseling because when I was younger, I used to think, well, people are crazy to go to therapy because again, that's
Right.
another stigma that we were taught. Going to therapy is crazy. But then, I had good benefits at my job. I'm not there anymore. But when I did, I used my benefits. I found me a therapist. When after I got the divorce, I talked to a therapist because what I didn't
Hmm.
want to do is have an angry attitude and be bitter. And I didn't want to take what happened with my ex-wife out on another woman that I get involved with. So I
Right.
made sure to take that to not do that to her or anybody else because I don't never want to be that person because that's how I was treated. So I don't want to treat nobody else that. So when it comes to vulnerability, I think that today's time we just have to be careful. Like we want to be vulnerable, but you just have to be careful who you tell it to. Just have a lot of conversations. Study their social media. That way, if you tell them something, it's not going to go on there. But I think we need to be more
Absolutely.
vulnerable with each other. I think we need to be more vulnerable with each other because if we just keep fighting and fighting and fighting, then we're never going to get anywhere. So I think we're vulnerable and understanding and listen to understand, not listen to scream and holler at one another, not point fingers.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And thank you for being transparent and being vulnerable enough to answer that question from a male perspective because we don't hear it very often. So thank you for that, Laron. And we're gonna go into our reality check because growth sounds good, but we know it's not comfortable, right?
Right.
So what do people romanticize about healing or success that isn't true?
That is easy. Like, it's not easy. Like, uh, I think I heard a lyric in the song. It took me 10 years. I think who was it? Big Sean? He had a lyric in the song where he said, "It took me 10 years to become overnight success." You
Hmm.
don't see me sleeping on the couch. You don't see me with no food in the refrigerator. You don't see me when I was doing shows and not making no money. I'm a big wrestling fan, so
Mm,
sadly, a lot of wrestlers just got cut because every year after WrestleMania, I don't know if you watch wrestling or not, but every year after WrestleMania, they cut a lot of wrestlers, and some of the popular ones got cut. But they talk. I read a lot about their story. They talk about how they travel, how they go from city to city with no food, no not knowing how they're gonna get gas, staying in hotels and stuff like that. 3 or 4 to a car drive to the different city. But then when you see them on TV, you think, oh yeah, they're making it, they're multimillionaires, and this and that, and the other. But yeah, but you don't see the ride it took them to get there. They
right,
see, like I said, social media. They run social media. They see, oh well, there's that person said, but you don't know what it took them to get there. Like one of my
right.
mentors, he just made a post the other day. He's talked about how he was broke and homeless, and how he went through the foreclosure and all this other stuff, but he built back up from that. So people think success and healing, they think it's easy, but it's not. And I think another thing about success and healing that I think we need to stop trying to meet other people's expectations. Everybody's journey is different. You don't know
Mm-hmm.
what other people are going through, or you don't know what they had to do to get to where they are. Yeah, you might see somebody driving a nice car or a nice house, but you know what it took them to get there. It might take them 30 years to get that house.
Right.
It might take them bankruptcy to get that house. You don't know that. So they just want to get rich quick. 'Cause that's the thing. Everybody wants to get rich quick or get to it quick. But it's not
Mm-hmm.
because if that was easy, I would already be a millionaire. I would already be rich.
Right.
But then we
Absolutely.
so I think that's the thing about success of healing. And then when it comes to healing, people say like when you go through a breakup or whatever, oh, you should just get over it. You can't just tell
Right.
you don't know what that person is, oh, especially if you're a man. Oh, just get over it and go on to the next one. No, I don't want to do that. It's not that easy. No, you can't tell people. That's something I learned in therapy. You can't tell somebody what their time frame is to getting over something, whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
loss of a loved one or they went through a breakup or whatever it might be. You can't tell someone when that is. They need time to heal and get over it. And then they might
Mm-hmm.
not never get over it, which is fine. But you just don't know. You can't just tell people and rush people's healing. That's up to that own individual person. Everybody's path is different. I think that's another thing about healing that people need to understand. That's another reality check. Just because you might have gotten over it quickly doesn't mean the next person will. And just because
Absolutely.
so I went through a job loss. It's like a lot of people went through job loss, especially during COVID. It's not easy to just go out and get another job the next day later. Why aren't you working yet? It's not easy.
Right.
So that, I think that's something that we need to be more sympathetic. For whatever reason, we're not as sympathetic as we used to be back then. We're just everybody wants to move fast pace, and fast pace is rush, rush, rush. But it's not like that. Things take time. Healing takes time. Success takes time, and it happens when it happens.
It happens when it happens. Absolutely, LaRon. Um, what is one reality people need to understand about love and relationships?
I'm gonna go back. I won't say that. So something similar to what I said last time. It's not a movie. Like it's not like you meet somebody and you get married happy at the end. This, not the other. But when it comes to love, like I said, when I got divorced, I had to go. I did meet somebody a few months later, which at first I was hesitant because I didn't want to go too fast, but
Hmm.
she was everything that I wanted. So we got to know each other. We talked, and we got have similar interests because she's also a poet. So she writes poetry, which that also drew me to her.
Hmm.
She's shyer than I am. Like I make her read. She doesn't like to go out to read, but she'll do it if I tell her to, and she's very good at it. But
Hmm.
about love and race, I think we need to. Again, I'm gonna blame social media. I know I'm blaming them a lot, but that's what I see. Social media gave people easy access. People want to swipe the whole date. I see a lot of people complain about the dating apps. So we live in a swipe culture now. Swipe left, swipe right. And we treat people
Hmm.
like they just, oh well, we can just throw them away.
Throw them
Or there's
away.
always
Yes.
somebody, or there's always going to be. No, it's not. You can't just treat people like that. And especially, I'm pushing 50 years old. I'm gonna be 50 years old in 2 years. So why are you still? If you're at this stage, I'm like, I don't want to play no games. I don't want to play no games with me, and I don't want to play games with nobody. And you don't have all the time in the world. So if you
Right.
keep thinking that you're just gonna swipe on the app or jump in somebody's inbox and say, "Hey, let's go out, let's get married, or let's do this, that, other," because I see a lot of my female friends complain about the dudes that be in their inbox, and the things they say to me is horrible. Oh my God, people really do that.
Yeah.
And I think social media, people think that's because it's access. Like I said, if I could blow it up tomorrow, I would. But I think
Mm.
we need to go back to getting to know one another, take time to meet one another, just go out do random stuff, walks in the park, maybe a movie or something like that. Some get back to doing little simple things like we used to do when we were kids. Like we used to go outside and play. Hey, let's go outside to the
Mhm.
park or let's go to the mall or something like that. Like we have a lot of festivals up here, so it's about to be festival season. It's May, so let's go to a festival. Let's go hang out or something like that. So I think that today's culture is just everything has to be right now and rush. So I
Right.
think when it comes to love and relationships, it's just take time to know one another. Let's talk to each other. We don't instead of screaming and arguing all the time, getting these man versus women wars, which aren't real. That's just something that the media pushes on black people for whatever reason. Because I really don't see that a lot. Whether I don't really follow other cultures, like I say, it don't happen in other cultures, but it's just I just see it more in the black community than I do any other culture. Like I don't know why it's going on, what's happening
Hmm.
with it, but I think we just turn off the phone for like an hour or two and get off and pick up a book or something and just read,
Or be in the
do something
moment with who
different.
you
Turn off the
with. Like be in the moment.
Yeah, that hold hands. Me and my girlfriend, we go out and eat ice cream, and just like the best thing ever. Like we do a lot
Mhm.
of old school stuff, and I just love that. So I think we just need to get back to that.
Right. So let's talk about the book, the upcoming book, Hidden Emotions, Black Man Tears. I love the title. How did that all come about?
I actually been working on it for a long time, but I've just finally put it out. So I have a poem called Hidden Emotions, and I had a poem called Black Men Tears. So that's how I came out. That's how that came about, and because and the Black Man Tears part actually came from I got that from Tupac. He had So Many Tears song,
Hmm.
so that's one of my favorite Tupac songs, and he was talking about a lot of things that he went through, crying and over broken relationships, and a lot of things that he been through, so many tears. So I said I want to write my own version of it. So I
Right.
wrote Black Man Tears. So that's kind of how it came back. So Tupac inspired that part of it. So that's pretty much how
Right.
the
And
title.
I love that though. I love that though because it's necessary because you are an advocate for men's mental health. So it makes perfectly sense that you well perfect sense that you would make sure that that poetry book speaks to the things that you are so passionate about. And you are one of the featured poems in this issue of 19 Lifestyle Magazine. And the featured poem that you have in here is called Black Excellence. So let's talk about a little bit about your poem Black Excellence. What inspired that? What headspace were you in when you created that poem?
So like I said earlier, we pay way too much attention to celebrities. Like I don't give 2 cents about Clay and Megan Thee Stallion. I don't care what side you're
Mhm.
on. I don't care if you're on her side or his side. I don't care whose side you're taking. But for whatever reason, we always want to look to celebrities for our life goals. But and the media, like the TV shows, like all the TV drug dealer, like Power and Empire and this, that, and the other. And I'm tired of seeing shows about drug dealing. I'm tired of seeing shows about drama. I don't know if you are, but I'm not a big Tyler Perry fan, so I don't watch his movie. My ex-wife did, but once I started the patterns and started seeing what was going on, I said I can't do this no more. I can't watch it.
Right.
I respect him as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, where he came from, because he was homeless when he started. But I just
Mhm.
can't. I can't take all the stereotypes that's in his movies. So when I wrote that poem, I like we need to get back to the people who came before us. People like King Mansa Musa, who I talked about. The lady who I don't know how the poem in front of me. The lady who sent because I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and the airport's named after John Glenn. And John Glenn was the first person who circled the moon. But what they don't talk about is the black woman who sent him to the moon. And it's in the movie called Hidden Figures.
Mhm.
It talks about the three women who worked at NASA. And they call them computers, which they called people computers back then. I had no idea. That's the first time I heard of that. And they did all these mathematical equations. They were really smart, really intelligent. And it was a
Right.
black woman who sent him to the moon so he can get there and back safely. And she did all of
Mhm.
that. So that's
Mhm.
what inspired that poem. Because I'm like, why don't we get back to our black history and who we were? And like, I'm a gamer. I don't play as much as I used to because I don't have time, work, and all that type of stuff. And one of the
Mhm.
people I talked about was Jerry Lawson. He invented the first video game cartridge. Now, all this technology we work with, we from Sony, Nintendo, computers, we don't talk about the black people who contribute to technology. So he was one of the people I talked about in the poem, and nobody knows how they had a gaming expo last year here. They actually had his system. They're like, "Oh wow, so that's the system he made." I never saw it in person. It was the first time I
Wow,
seen it.
I've never seen that in person either.
Yeah, it came out about like in the late 70s, 77. So it was before Atari. That's how old it
Okay.
is.
Wow.
But I never heard of it until I probably heard about him like 5 or 10 years ago. I'm like, well, how come he's not talked about?
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't understand why we don't, as we as Black people, learn more about our own Black culture and our Black history. Because there are people who were here before us is the reason why we're here today.
Right.
So I think we need to get back
Absolutely.
to understand where we came from, like people like Malcolm X and Martin. Well, everybody knows who Malcolm X are, but there are more than Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
Hmm.
There were so many other people that contributed to us, and we just, as Black people, we just, oh well, we don't remember who they were. We don't. We just came here out of nowhere, and this is how things are. Like
Right.
there are a lot of people who paved the way for you to get here, and I just think we need to go back and respect the people who came before us, and that's why I wrote that poem.
I love that. So when is the book coming out? When is Hidden Emotion
It's
coming out?
actually available for pre-order digital. They wouldn't let me do a physical copy for pre-order, but it's coming out the end of the month on May 31st. I'm actually doing a book launch here at my friend's spot, so it'll be available to order on Amazon on May the 31st.
Okay. On Amazon.
Hmm.
All right. Tell everybody your social media. Where do you hang out on the social media streets? I know you don't like it, but we
Yeah.
want the listeners to go and to be supportive and follow and connect and see where you are, what you're doing, the great, amazing work that you're doing, especially for pouring into Black men's mental health.
I'm Laron the poet on pretty much everything except for YouTube. I haven't done a poetry YouTube yet. I probably should, but oh well, I do have one, but I need to revamp it because it's under my old name, Soul Poetry Healing. But I changed to Laron the poet. My girlfriend actually gave me that name, so she kept calling me Laron the poet, so I just ran with it. Like that sounds better.
Right.
So
And that's THE or is it DA?
no, just THE.
Okay.
Laron the poet. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook is just my name, Laron Henderson, just my first and last name. And I do have a page on there, Laron the Poet on Facebook too. And I have
Okay.
a few albums streaming on Spotify. That's not under my name. Those are under Soul Poetry Healing because that was my old name. So I have an album actually called Hidden Emotion Black Man Tears, but I wrote the book after the album came out. And I got
Okay.
a Christmas album too. It's called 12 Poems of Christmas. That's the name of the Christmas album.
And that's on Spotify too?
Yeah, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream music at.
Okay. Nice. So before we get out of here, I want to do a mic drop moment. In one sentence about life, what do you want people to remember the most?
Um, just try to remember all the good times you had, because a lot of bad stuff happened. Just remember all the good times.
I love that. What is one truth about love everyone should understand?
It takes patience to understand it. Everything's not gonna come fast in a hurry. It takes patience.
Love that. And what mindset belief can change someone's life, in your opinion?
Just don't give up. Just keep going. No matter what happens, just don't give up.
Absolutely. I love that. Final question. When life challenges you and love stretches you, what mindset keeps you grounded?
Just that I'm still here, and I could be either in jail or dead. So, this I'm still here, and I still have breath. I still can see. I still have all my senses. I still have my limbs, not handicapped. Anything like that. Nothing against handicapped people, because there's some great handicapped people out there. But I'm still here, still healthy, and still breathing.
I love that. All right, so this has been another episode of Kicking It with KeKe, Life, Love, and Mindset. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. If this conversation spoke to you in any type of way, make sure you subscribe, share, and tell a friend who may need to hear this conversation, especially when it comes to men, mental health. And I believe that poetry can be a safe space. You just have to give yourself permission to be vulnerable enough with yourself first and foremost, because write for yourself before you share it with someone else, just to get out those emotions that you have been suppressing. Laron, before we get out of here, I know that was the last question that I said, but is there any words of encouragement or anything like that that you would like to leave the listeners with today?
Uh, yeah. So poetry for me has been a way for me to heal. And so I just actually was on did a contest Monday. It was a last minute thing. She asked me to write a poem called "What Makes Poetry." So I'm gonna say that everybody is a poet, or everybody has a poem in them. It doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't have to go to the traditional things of a poem. So just pick up a pen and paper and just write. It's really therapeutic. Even if you don't want to make it public, even if you just want to do it for yourself, it's a great way to get things out. If you don't want feel like you have anybody to talk to or don't want to talk to nobody, just write it out.
I second that. I second that. So always remember that your story has power, your voice has purpose, and your mindset can change everything. So keep growing, keep loving, keep showing up for yourself, and keep your mindset strong. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Purple hug. Later.
All right, thank you.